Alright guys, so in this part of the module I'm going to be teaching you how to set up the application called Oberlo. And Oberlo is basically the application that connects your Shopify store with your supplier, and the supplier you're going to be using in this case is AliExpress. And I recommend using AliExpress because it's the easiest way to get started for beginners, and there's definitely good suppliers on there if you know what to look for. And that's all covered in the supplier sourcing module, so make sure to take a look at that before you go out there and find suppliers. Alright, so let's get into how to set up Oberlo. So the first thing you have to do is download the application here. Click on Add App. Click on Install App. Alright, so it looks like it's glitching a little bit. Just make sure to hit that back button in this case. And then click on Install App again. Alright, so now that you're in the dashboard, you want to add your first product. But to add the first product, you need to install a Chrome extension. So we're going to go to Chrome and we're going to search up Oberlo Chrome extension. Click on the first link and then click Add to Chrome. Alright, so now that we have the extension added, you want to go to AliExpress. And you're going to look up your product here. Now, the product we're selling is a cervical neck traction device. And we're actually going to be adding in this device. Alright, so all you have to do to add this device into your store is click on this little blue button right here. And now it's imported. So go back to your Oberlo dashboard and then refresh the page. Now it's on your import list. So click on this right here. And we have to give it a title. And it doesn't really matter right now because you could go back in later and change it. So don't worry about it too much. We're just going to call it neck traction device for now. And then when it comes to the collection, you could just click on homepage because we haven't set up any collections yet. And then for the type of device, you could write cervical traction. And then for the tags, maybe just neck. Now you don't really have to worry about this too much because it's a one product store. But if you were to build out a niche store with lots of different products, then you should set up multiple different types and multiple different tags. Now for the description, we're going to just leave it blank for now because we're going to go in and change it later. And then in the variants, you can set all your prices in right here by clicking on set new value, and we're actually going to price ours at $29.95. And then the compared price at what's it gonna be, $59.95, because we're gonna be saying that it's 50% off. Now you can take this on right here, which is automatically updating the price when the cost of goods changes. So let's say the cost of goods right here changes from like $7.37 to like $8, then the price over here will get automatically adjusted depending on what the cost of goods has changes to. But you don't have to do that because we want to keep it static at $29.95 because I think it would convert the best at $29.95. Alright, so in the product images section over here, you want to select the cleanest images possible. And this looks like a great product image to be on the home page, so we're going to select this as one of the images. And then we'll select this one to show people that there's multiple colors. And then maybe we could select this one over here and this one over here as well, just to demonstrate how the product works. So these are going to be the 4 images that I'm going to use. You don't have to use every single image here because it's going to look way too cluttered. So I recommend only selecting like 4 to 5 at most. And make sure it does not look like a Chinese supplier image. And by that I mean an image like this. It has to look very professional. So once you have all the images selected, click on import to store. And now the product is imported into your store, and you can start editing the product in your store. And before I get into showing you guys how to edit the actual products in your store, let's go over some of the settings in Oberlo. So click on settings over here, and you could set a name for it. It's not really a big deal because no one's gonna see it, or you don't really have to. And then we'll make sure to set new products as published is ticked on, and then you can leave that off because we're gonna have a static shipping cost. And then right here, you can add a custom shipping URL, and basically what it does is if somebody purchases a product from you and then your supplier ships it out, it'll automatically send them the tracking information to their email. And I'll actually set this up in a later section once we install an application called Tractor, which allows customers to go on your own website and look up the tracking details on your actual website instead of sending somebody to like epacket.com or not ePacket. Instead of sending somebody to like 17Track or USPS, they can go right to your website and set up the store using Tractor. Alright, so over here, the auto updates. Most likely when a product is no longer available on AliExpress, you want to set the quantity to 0 because you don't want people to buy a product from you when your supplier doesn't have any stock. And then when a variant is no longer available, also set it to 0. And then when the cost updates, you could just hit notify me, but you don't want it to automatically update because let's say a product goes from like $8 to $14, it could automatically update the price on your store from like $20 to like $30, and your conversion rate might dip. So in this scenario, the best thing to do is hit do nothing, but notify me so that you can see the email that the price changed, and then go on to AliExpress and find a different supplier with a cheaper price. Now when the inventory changes, you want to update it automatically. Alright, so that's it for the settings over here. Let's click on Save Settings. Now you want to go into Global Pricing Rules, and I'll show you what you could do over here. So basically in Global Pricing Rules, what you can do is automatically adjust all the costs of your products in one go. And this is very useful for niche stores because if you have like 20 products on your store, you'll have to manually go in there and adjust each price. But by using this, you can just change it so that it's 2 times the cost of your goods. But we're not going to use this feature because we're running a single product store and not a niche store. Now click on Suppliers. Alright, so in the shipping settings over here, you can select individual products, select the country it's going to, and then pick a shipping method for it. But what you can also do is just change the default shipping method to ePacket. Now some countries will not accept ePacket, so in that case you're going to have to go in here, select the product that you added, select the country it's going to, and then change it to a different shipping method that's pretty cheap. Because if it doesn't accept ePacket, sometimes you might use a different shipping line that's very expensive. So make sure that if you're shipping to countries outside of ePacket, that you know another shipping method that's relatively cheap. Otherwise you might end up paying like $15 for shipping. So all we're gonna do over here is click on ePacket, and then we're gonna override the phone number over here so that the supplier doesn't see the customer's phone number. And then over here you can leave the message as is, and this is a notification to the supplier letting them know that this is a drop shipping product and not to include any labels on the product. Because if a customer receives a product from China and it has all this Chinese labeling on it, they're not going to be satisfied. So then click on Settings or Save Settings. Now let's go into Reporting. Now most of the times I never look at the reporting over here, but if you want, you can turn on total sales here and then click on daily email, weekly email, or monthly email, and Oberlo will send you like daily emails about how your product is currently doing. Now click on GDPR report. Alright, so now in GDPR reports, you don't really have to worry about this part that much, so you can skip over it. And then over here in other settings, you want to change the reply to email address to the one that you made, which is support@mrneck.com. Now you want to change this to whichever one that you made and not to this one, obviously. Now for the time zone, I'm going to set it to Chicago because that's US Central Time. and click Save Settings. Alright, so after that, that's basically the full setup for Oberlo. Let's move into actually editing the product on the store.